The brutal death of Tyree Nichols is giving new momentum to potentially passing a federal police reform bill. A few days ago, the Congressional Black Caucus met with the president at the White House to discuss a path forward after Nichols' death. The group of black lawmakers say that they reached an agreement on how to address police brutality. They did not reveal further details on the agreement, but said that there will be more information about a legislative package in a few days. And Nichols' family will also be joining President Biden's State of the Union speech, where he is expected to mention policing in America. We do want to bring in Missouri Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, also a member of the Congressional Black Caucus. Congressman, thank you so much for being here.
Good to be with you.
Earlier this week, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott actually called this bill a non-starter, and that he said he is working on common ground solutions that could pass. What do you say to GOP lawmakers who agree with him?
Well, first of all, Senator Scott and I became friends when he served in the House. I think he is a very serious legislator. He and I probably disagree on this more than just about anything else. But I'm not saying he's not interested in some kind of police reform, but he is not supportive of some of the main components that we have been working for over the last at least 5 or 6 years. And the president does understand exactly what we're talking about. I think the big question is over something called qualified immunity, which means that police officers cannot be sued because of this qualified immunity. And now police departments can be sued, which means that the city government, as a former mayor, I can tell you, when the police get sued, it's the municipal government that ends up having to pay that bill. So we think that we need to be able to track police who move from one jurisdiction to another, particularly those who have had difficulties. And when they get in trouble in one place, they move to another. And there's no national database from which we can pull the names of those officers who probably shouldn't even have a badge.
Is qualified immunity a topic or issue that the Black Caucus would be willing to give up if it is making this bill a non-starter for the GOP?
Well, let me say I probably shouldn't negotiate on television, but I do think that we've got to get something done. We need to get as much done now as we can in order to look for aggressive ways to win the next election, and then we can get more done. So I don't know what we're willing to give up, or maybe I'm saying I'm not willing to talk about it here. But I do think that we may end up having to let some things go for now in order to get something going, because otherwise the whole community nationwide, not just African Americans, but people who of goodwill who realize we have a problem, are going to be let down again.
I appreciate that. And some critics say that the bill could strip police officers of basic protections and that police actually need solutions that increase funding and training. What do you say to those people who fear that the bill will hurt policing in America?
Look, I served as mayor. I had a police detail for 8 consecutive years. Some of the best human beings I've ever been around were police officers. I think that my goal when I was mayor of Kansas City, Missouri, was to make sure that we had everything we needed for the police officers. What we have to understand is that unnecessary violence by disturbed individuals sometimes find a great hideout in a police uniform. And that means that there are some police officers who should not be there. And for those good officers, which is the overwhelming majority, I think that we don't want to hurt them. We don't want to damage them. And they want the bad guys out too. I've been told that 100 times by police officers.
The George Floyd police reform bill, it has already failed twice. Do you think it has the momentum? Is this the moment that it will make it to the president's desk this time?
Well, the president's ready for whatever we can get through, and I think a meeting that was scheduled for 45 minutes that lasted 2 hours, the president understood quite clearly how significant this was, and I know he will sign if it comes to his desk, and he may even use some of his presidential chips to try to help us get the votes we need over on the Senate side. But as I said earlier, I think that it's important for us to get something done during this term right now, because in about 3 or 4 weeks, another month, this story of Tyree will kind of melt away, and then we will not hear about anything again until there's another tragedy.
Yes. Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, I certainly appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much for coming on, truly.
Sure, good to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.